Welcome to the Eagle Eye Podcast, the #1 show to bring you all things Club America in English. Your hosts for today, Ivan Pineda, Christian Rosendo, and everyone's favorite cowboy, Dylan Jimenez. Let's start the show.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Eagle Eye Podcast. Today, we're going to be recapping everything that happened in the Clasico Capitalino. Plus, we have Lady Aguilas talk. We're going to be recapping the other Clasico Capitalino that happened earlier that day. And, of course, we're going to get you guys ready for the big game against Tigres this upcoming weekend. It should be a good one for our ladies. Do they have what it takes to take down Tigres? Well, we're going to let you know, and we're going to preview that later on in this show. But alrighty then, before I get any further in today's show, let me introduce, as always, my co-host, Brooklyn's very own AJ, and New York's favorite resident, Christian Rosendo. Gentlemen, how are we?
Doing good. Thank you. How about you?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing as well as you can on a Tuesday. Christian?
I'm doing okay. You know, a little bit stressed out over school and stuff, but everything's going fine. I hope both of you are doing well, and this should be a good episode. I can't wait. A lot of things to talk about just before our international break. So yeah, can't wait to start.
Don't lie to us, Christian. You are worried because your bet might not go through. You're not worried about school, all right? You got money on game 4, and you're just keeping track of the score.
Let's just put it all out there. Yes, I have money into this game right now. And this is a big one for me. Not just because of the game or whatever. I really don't care who wins. It's just your boy wasn't too hot this weekend. So this is the time we come back. And then if I don't come back, I'm in a lot of debt. So guys, please use our code EEP for 10% off football products to help your boy get back in this game.
I mean, it was quite the weekend though for results. I think no one had a good weekend. No one at all.
Yeah.
Unless you're like an Aston Villa or Spurs fan. This is about it.
Imagine you bet Austin. Oh man. Anyway, you know what? Let's
get
off this, man.
We've definitely gotten off topic, but there is one thing I do want to address before we start talking about all things Las Aguilas del América. As you guys know, and as you guys have probably seen over on our Twitter, we have made an official announcement. Unfortunately, our beloved cowboy Dylan Jimenez will have a leave of absence for the remainder of the season. Whilst this was a tough decision for him to make and for us to take as well. These are circumstances that are out of his hands, and we respect it, and we fully support him, and we are just anxious to have him back on the show whenever that case may be, hopefully before or on the start of the 2021 season for Las Aguilas del América. So our beloved cowboy will be missed. Press F in the chat because he's not going to be here, but we're definitely going to keep him in our hearts. And as always, you guys can find him over on Twitter, so you guys can always have fun. He's still going to try to do things here and there for us, but unfortunately, his hands will be a little bit tied in the meantime. So Dylan, if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, buddy, we're going to miss you. We love you. We can't wait to have you back on this show. All right, gentlemen, let's get right into this. So I think it's fair that we start off with the ladies because, well, they played first and they're having the much, much better season than we are. Let's face it. AJ, the ladies came into this game with quite the result beforehand against Mazatlan with that 8-0 thrashing of Mazatlan, but this game was completely different to what we saw that weekend. This Clasico Capitalino against Pumas Femenil just was not what at least many of us were intending. I mean, don't get me wrong, the game was good, especially from a neutral's perspective. I mean, we had, quite the goal at the end to level things up, but a few things to touch upon in regards to the ladies here. They didn't play well. Obviously, there's an injury beforehand that kind of settles the tone of the match for the ladies, but I don't know. What are your final thoughts on this game? Because to be honest, I was really, really disappointed, not just in the result, but really how the team played.
Honestly, that was one of the more. This is one of the matches where I feel like it just really wasn't a great display for América Femenil, especially when it's going to be teams like Pumas, in which they will probably be in the Liguilla. And just seeing how the team has just managed to struggle against teams that, are going to definitely be in the Liguilla. And it's just one of those instances where I'm just kind of like, it's just not really good looking for America Femenil because throughout the entire match, they've only really had 7 shots with only 2 of them being on target, in which the goal came from Daniela Espinosa with the free kick in the 89th minute, which happens to deflect off of Pumas, the player. But just all in all, throughout the entire match, it's just Pumas Femenil were just knocking America Femenil's door with shots after shots. They had 15 shots in that game, with 5 of them being on target, which the only goal that they happened to score was in the 94th minute due to an error from America Femenil midfielder Zuma Hernandez, which she did not happen to go chase the ball up front to try to block it. But just all in all, Pumas family were really giving Renata Maserelli and the defense a hard time, but luckily Maserelli was coming up huge with amazing saves left and right. There was a save in which in the 24th minute, I honestly think could be in contender for the save of the season, if not the save of the season. So it's really great to see how Renata Maserelli, in just her second game playing for America Femenil, starting this season, she has already proven to be a really great goalkeeper for us. And Jocelyn Arhead, she was just amazing in the defense, just really clearing the ball out of the zone, just defending, doing what she usually does in order to prevent Pumas from trying to score. Unfortunately, they did score in the very end, but all in all, it's not really her fault. It was rather more on Zula Hernandez. But all in all, just a 1-1 draw. I mean, we're still undefeated. That's the good thing. But just looking into this game before we're going to play against our upcoming opponent, will be Tigres Femenil. To me, it's not looking good, especially with the injury that happened in this game in the 8th minute, which we'll get to in a bit. And as well, there was a certain play that was not even featured in the starting 11 against Pumas, which already raises even more questions to how America Femenil will be entering this upcoming match against Tigres Femenil.
So let's kind of go into this one and dissect it from parts, because I think you did a good job recapping everything. But I want to focus on really just how this game started for the ladies. Did you think that they went at it properly? Do you think they took the game to Pumas? Because I think I felt that the ladies were just a bit too reluctant. Like they didn't feel comfortable on the ball. They had no imagination going forward, and really we had no midfield. I mean, to signal players out, this was one of the worst games I have seen Cassandra Cuevas play in an America jersey. And why she finished with 90 minutes under her belt, I will have no idea why. But she should have never have continued after the 60th minute.
Just all in all, it's just the midfield. I really just don't understand what's going on. It's a thing where I feel like, yeah, we're excelling against teams in the league that are not doing oh so hot. But then when it comes to like teams that we played against, such as Atlas and Pumas, just the midfields are strong. This could just also be to put it in the fact that Jennifer Munoz is not playing because she was recovering from COVID and an injury, but just seemed like the team without her, it seemed like there's a lack of creativity. We do have Veronica Perez, which she does add in creativity along in there with her through balls, crosses, and short passes, which is great. But as I mentioned as well, like in the 8th minute, she happened to pick up an injury in which that turned out to be a torn ACL and an injury to her kneecap, in which that resulted her out for the rest of the season. And because of this, Ava Gonzalez had to take her spot in the 8th minute. But just from there on out, it just seemed like nothing was going on our way. And then for the player that I was talking about in particular that was not even in the starting 11 was America Femenil's winger, Montserrat Hernandez, in which Dalia Molina was taking her place at the left wing, and it turned out with Montserrat Hernandez in a press conference with America Femenil's manager Leonardo Cuellar, he said that she picked up what seemed to be a strain in her abdomen, which is not really looking good. And then from this, they say she'll be out for 2 to 3 weeks. And just hearing that, that's not good at all. And then going back to Veronica Perez's injury, she's out for the rest of the season. So from there on out, it's going to raise questions to how are we going to get any kind of creativity in midfield, because looking into this game with Pumas, it seemed like if the ball happened to just be our foot, like either on Daniela Espinosa's foot or Hannah Gutierrez, which she happened to did get a chance, we would just hope that they could try to finish it. But just from Hannah's part, she really wasn't doing much. And with Daniela Espinosa, her only chance was really coming in at the 89th minute with that free kick. So it's one of those games where I felt like it was not good. And then just looking at Cassandra Cuevas, it's one of those things. It's like we had options in the bench, and I felt like we could have maybe subbed her out. Who knows, maybe by halftime, maybe perhaps give Jennifer Munoz time to play, in which she did play that game, but also sub out for someone else, in which she only played for 30 minutes before getting subbed out for Zuma Hernandez in the 85th minute. But just midfield, it's raising a lot of questions to how America Femia are going to be going forward from now on, especially with Veronica Perez being out and Montserrat Hernandez being out for 2 to 3 weeks.
Christian, well, two things here. One, it seems that the injury curse has no boundaries, has found its way over to the ladies' camp, and now has taken over that department. And two, I mean, we previewed this team ahead of the season, and we said that one of the great things about this team that we didn't see to prior other seasons was the vast depth and talent in that depth that this America side had going for them. Yet it seems though, like we mentioned, in games like this, and especially a very crucial game in matches where you're potentially going to see these teams again in the Liguilla, you're not showing your best face and not showing the utmost best attitude going forward. What do you really think is going on in with our ladies? Because we see one week a really good showcasing the events against a very poor side, of course, but now then you go up against a Pumas, which technically, it's your rivals, but I don't know. I didn't really see that fire from the ladies. And if it's one thing we know at America is there's no such thing as an excuse. And it's just kind of what you have to go by wearing this jersey.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't think it's just recently. I think this has been I guess a problem in the past couple matches. Just exclude the Mazatlan game. You go back to all the way. It was September 3rd when we had our last true win against Necaxa 6-1. Other than that, we've had 2-1 against Leon, 2-1 against Santos, 0-0 Atlas, and 1-1 Pumas right now. It just seems that for some reason we've lost that offensive spark. Even though we're still winning and we're still scoring, 2+ a game, it seems that this team is poised to do more, especially against, I guess, so weaker opponents. No disrespect, but these are the types of teams that I think this team should be, showing how good they are and showing the offensive prowess that they do have. Now, I know there was a little bit of roster juggling and position juggling. Even AJ, I think, commented on his Twitter saying, he was confused about certain changes that Cuellar made to the lineup. And, to me, that just says that maybe he doesn't like things that aren't working, so he tries to change them. Maybe he changed them too much, and then the players aren't really getting, chemistry or getting used to the position. Kind of something that's ongoing with the men's team as well. So I just feel like maybe this team needs a little bit of stability at the moment to kind of get them back into rhythm. That's kind of my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, no, and I think you're right. And obviously, you're missing key pieces that would definitely change the matchup for you. But now you have to kind of feel the situation out and know that, okay, you're going to be out of one of your best midfielders in Veronica. Montserrat Hernandez might not feature probably is not going to feature against Tigres. And Jen Munoz is still up in the air as to whether or not she's going to be able to at least have 45 minutes under her belt. So a lot of questions coming into this game against Tigres, AJ. But if there's one thing we want to rescue from this match alone is that, at least defensively, we're starting to look a little bit better. And funny enough, though, when we were previewing this game, and I said that JD Gutierrez might have a problem if Renata starts having save after save and looking like a great player, that she might potentially lose her starting position. It looks like it's coming to fruition. I don't see how JD doesn't get the starting goalkeeper spot if Renata can continue that good run of form against Tigres.
Yeah, no, it's just all in all, you're seeing all the things that Renata Messager is able to do in just the span of just 2 games this season. It's starting to show. It's like, could she potentially be the new number 1 in America Feminine? And not to mention, Renata Messager did get named to the best 11 for this jornada this week. So it's just really good to just see that a lot of people are starting to see the good in Renata Messager and more or less in the bad, because all in all, I think when the goal was conceded, you know how it is like with the America Feminine fan base, that when they happen to see a goal being conceded, they would either want to blame it on the goalie immediately, but it just in this case, when we saw the goal from Pumas in the 94th minute, it really wasn't not the Maserati's fault. So if you saw like at the very end, she does actually make an effort to go for the ball, which it happened to be in the top right corner, in which when that ball's going top right, it's more than likely it's going to go right in. And a matter of fact, more people were just putting the blame on Zuma Hernandez. And you could even see in Cassandra Cuevas' face that she had like an angry face right at her and just threw her like a gesture right at Zuma, turned to like, why didn't you defend that? Even Maserati was like, she wasn't really upset. She was just more in shock to like that went in. Is just like, okay. But it's just all in all, just not that message really is just doing a really good job. Just to say the two saves that she happened to get against Mazatlan, and then the couple of saves that she got against Pumas is just really showing to how great of a goalkeeper she can be. And in all honesty, she could be in my opinion, she could be the future number one for America Femenil.
You know, I'm not gonna discredit her because she had a really good game, but that second save that she makes with their hand in the second half, with where it's like it's the free kick, it goes over the wall. She does a little bit too much for me for my liking. Like she already had passed it. Like she could have just simply just like with her hands, but she's, you know what?
Ooh.
I'm feeling it. I'm going throw myself with the photo. Like there's camera people around. Like she went all out. But credit to her. Sometimes the goalkeeper's got to do that to keep their confidence up. But yeah, credit to her. Had a good game. Credit to the defense. I think they did well. I think the midfield really let them down. They were being bombarded time after time after time, and you know, you can only do so much without some support. And at this point, you know, we did what we could. But I mean, credit to where credit is due on that aspect. But I mean, still, I mean, if you were to grade this performance, what would you give it, AJ?
As an overall, like
from A to F, team performance. What do you give it?
C+.
That is disgusting. That is not a C+ performance.
It's C+ to me. It's like we were not getting anything going at all. The highlight really throughout that entire match, that was the 89th minute when Daniela Espinosa had the free kick and scored the goal. But to even think that as well, it was a deflection off the Pumas player. Credit, it's her goal. But that Pumas defender wasn't right there. I mean, it could have maybe gone in, or the Pumas goalkeeper may have had a chance to save it. Just all it's like it wasn't really well. There's players just in the position. Like I understand Dalia Molina has to be thrown in the winger spot, in which she has to replace a huge role in Montserrat Hernandez, who's usually the one just taking on defenders left and right on one-on-ones, maybe even a one-on-two, delivering the crosses and the short passes to then give it to Daniela Espinosa, to whoever's in that box to get a shot on goal. And don't get me started about Hanna Gutierrez. My opinion, she should never play as a winger ever again. I understand that she's young. Slow. She's young, but that's the thing. She's slow. I don't really see her cutting as like what you usually see with wingers, where they're able to take one-on-ones. I don't even think I even see her doing any kind of cross whatsoever. It seems like as if she's kind of incapable of the way they're just delivering a cross to Daniela Espinosa, in which we know if there's a cross, then Daniela Espinosa's in that box. Chances are she's going to soar high in the sky more than any other defender and head it in. The only thing I really see Hanna Gutierrez is doing is if she does happen to get the ball and she's on a one-on-one with the goalie, then yeah, she's going for that shot. But that's just anyone. But just all in all, I feel like she just cannot play on the right wing. I understand it's a spot where Cuellar is trying to experiment who could really be the right winger, and we're putting different players like Dalia Molina, Hanna Gutierrez, Marlene Campa. It's just the thing. I think even Daniela Espinosa's played there at one point this season, but it's just the thing. It's like I'm not understanding that. Daniela Espinosa, I mean, she was really the vocal point of this entire team, in which she was trying to get her team back into it, because all in all, we were really getting much chance to go. We had 7 shots, yeah, but the problem, a lot of those shots were off target. We only had 2 of them on target. Midfield, that's just like it's just really bad to see. How you could clearly see the after effects of Lamas when you don't have Jennifer Munoz in there and Veronica Perez. So just seeing just those 2 players gone complete from the equation, the midfield's like, okay, we passed the ball to the midfield. It's like, okay, what are we gonna do next? Like they're just frantically looking around left and right to see what they can try to do. The defense, they're good. They're doing good. They were keeping us throughout the entire game, and especially our goalkeeper, not the master. They were doing everything that they can to not let Pumas get more than 1 goal on us. So, my opinion, I'm sticking with that C+. And it was one of the more disappointing games seen from America Femenil this season. And as I mentioned before, if this is how we're gonna play against playoff caliber teams, and this is how we're heading to the playoffs, it's gonna be a huge trial for America Feminine and trying to figure out what they're gonna do without key players in the midfield and just having your wingers are just able to accompany your forward up front.
AJ, the more that you were talking, the more that you made my appeal a little bit easier to contradict. That is not a C+ performance by any means necessary because, look, you just said it yourself. Players were below subpar, and on top of that, it was a Clasico. It was a damn Clasico, and these ladies know because there's no way you go into that game like, oh, it's just another game that we have to go and try to win. No, this is a game that I know for a fact that they should understand by now that you go out there and you play that with heart. And I could tell you that there was probably about 3 players on that pitch that actually showed heart that day. And that is what really frustrated me the most. Is because that even if you're having the worst of games and you know it, and the player knows when they're having a bad game, but if you show heart, you can make something out of nothing. But just no one out there on that pitch, none. Cassandra Cuevas didn't have it. Dani Espinosa was one of those players that had it. Renata had it. But I'm looking at Hannah, just looked lazy. I mean, you can't tell me that she didn't.
No, I'm not saying she had any heart at all. Like, no, I was looking at it the entire time. I'm just thinking to St. Coyama, can you please sub her out? Don't ever put her on the right wing ever again. If you have no qualities of a winger and you're experimenting at this point in the season with the upcoming matches you have, stop it. Just put whoever you usually try. Yeah, I know the left wing, we're not even have a winger. At this point, it's like just maybe switch a formation up because realizing you're sticking with the formation, usually go with 4-3-3, and you don't have any wingers that can really make the most out of like Monse on the left wing. And then whoever you have on that right wing, it's not going to really work out. Dani's not going to have any kind of help whatsoever. She's going to have to hope she can get a through ball from the midfield if anyone's able to just cross it to her from the distance and just hope that she could just then catch up to it. But just I'm sticking with my thing of just saying it was a C+. Yes, some players had heart, but it just was a lousy match. And for a Clasico, yes, it's really huge, but just it's gonna worry me because if this is how they're gonna play against teams like look at Atlas, we know they're gonna be in the playoffs, and they gave America so many issues. And then we're looking at Pumas. It took us in the 89th minute to then finally score a goal. Yes, I know that's good, but then look what happened right after when they happened to just get a goal right out. It's just like a part of like our life is like our soul just left our bodies completely, and we're just like, what's going on now? Because it's the thing with me, Ivan, is like I love these ladies a lot. I love this team.
But this is what it has to come out to at the end of the day is that there is no. It doesn't matter whether we think the world of them or not. It's the end result that has to be graded, and the fact that you were not able to put out a good showcasing against one of your biggest and bitter rivals showcases to me that there is worrisome signs to work on. And you're right, Cuellar needs to focus on stuff, the other information as well. But at the end of the day, I think that this has to be classified as a D performance. A C+, I give it to you if we walk away with all 3 points because we were terrible and we didn't deserve that win. But we walk out, we can't hold a lead. So yeah, definitely that's a D performance for me. Because you just can't justify it. Because a C is passing. AJ, a C is passing. And while Dylan would say C's get degrees, it's definitely not good enough.
And
for,
C's won't
for
get you a championship this season. 100%.
They won't. They definitely won't. But okay, let's move away from the Pumas game because we're gonna come back and talk about it a little bit. Because let's go on and let's preview this upcoming game. AJ, that I thought was going to be a little bit different, but now I'm a little bit more worried about it because America is going up against Tigres on Saturday, correct me if I'm wrong, or is it Sunday?
It is going to be on a Saturday on that day.
Saturday. It's going to be at night, actually. Technically, it's going to be at night for you, right, AJ? It's going to be at 5 p.m. Central Time or 7?
It's 8 o'clock Eastern Time here.
So it is going to be 7 p.m. Central Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time over here, and that's going to be looking like a quite good game. AJ, correct me if I'm wrong, but this one we're going all the way to Volcan, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
So now that adds even more worry to my stress. All right, gentlemen, let's get into this one right away. So our ladies are definitely coming into this one with not so good news in regards to what's going on and around with the squad, injuries, and everything. And then, of course, our last result wasn't actually what we wanted. AJ, how is Tigres coming into this one?
Whoo! They're just cruising along really throughout since the get go. They're just honestly scoring goals for fun, and it seemed like even at times where the other teams happen to get a goal on them in the first, it just seems like Tigres just always happen to just come back towards the very end. And it seems like overall, just every single one of these players honestly could prove as a dangerous threat to America Femenil, and just they're one of those teams I'm actually just really afraid of America Femenil coming up against and playing is just because of knowing who they have in that front line, like Gadi Martinez, who she already has 10 goals this season. And it's just, well, as I'm thinking about, it's like, are America Femenil really ready to play against this team? Because looking at the records from playing them throughout the entire time since the league has first started, Tigres have 4 wins, only 3 draws, and 1 loss. With us, it's 1 win, 3 draws, and 4 losses. But keep in mind, America Femenil do happen to tie against this team twice in if I'm not mistaken, during the 2018 season, in which we won our very first title. So they're something good in that. But just after that, it seemed like just Tigres Femenil always happen to just defeat America Femenil. And it's just one of those where Tigres Femenil, they're going to continue their streak of going undefeated. And so are America Femenil. But just seeming in this case, with the injuries that we have currently for America Femenil, it's starting to look really worse into like if America Femenil really can keep their streak going against a team like Tigres Femenil.
So you're basically saying that Tigres has our number. And that's not good, of course, because we're America. We're supposed to be the best team in the league, regardless of any conditions. But you're right, AJ. We're coming into this one, and it's hard not to be worried with everything surrounding the club in regards to injury updates, whether or not we're going to field a strong starting 11. Which at this point, you'll give us your predicting starting 11, but I do not expect us to be coming out full force. And unfortunately, this is one of those games where America's going to have to play scrappy. America's going to have to play a little bit old school and just kind of defend, and try to, if possible, just utilize Danny on the break and hope for some individual brilliance to try to get the result. But talk to me a little bit more about what you expect this starting 11 to look like.
So I got Renata Maciarelli as our goalkeeper. Our back four is be consistent of Jimena Rios, Jocelyn Orejel, Ana Lozada, and Monica Rodriguez. In midfield, I'm going to be having Marlene Campa, Eva Gonzalez, Cassandra Cuevas on the right, and then on left wing, Dalia Molina, I'm going to have to go with. I'm then going to have Daniela Espinosa as our forward and right wing. As much as I really don't want, I feel I'm just going to have Ana Gutierrez in there again, because looking at the bench, it doesn't seem there's really much options for wingers. And I feel like we're just going to have to just display, for the most part, just the same lineup, excluding, not having Montserrat Hernandez playing and Veronica Perez being gone. And for Jennifer Munoz, I haven't mentioned her actually, which is surprising. But just the thing, it's like she's only played for 30 minutes last time against Pumas, and it seemed like most people are worried to whether she is truly ready, because remember, she's coming back from an injury and from COVID, and knowing that how the effects of COVID can be, sometimes it could have an impact to how the player's overall stamina is for that game. So, and if anything, to be honest, I would say, if at any point the midfield's struggling, you could, like in the first half, just definitely sub her out. But for the most part, I feel like I would probably see her on the bench, which, if that's, could probably be like a hot take from me.
No, that's understandable. She's nowhere near ready to start this game, and that's unfortunate because, well, we know that this was one of the games that she was definitely looking most forward to playing, and we'll see whether or not she gets more than enough playing time. But it's not looking good, Christian. You hear that lineup, you hear everything going on and surrounding the team, and going up against a team like Tigres. It's just it doesn't fill you with much confidence.
No, it doesn't. I think this is the time where we kind of see the resilience of this team. What this team is actually made of when the odds aren't in their favor, when they're the pressure's on them, to perform. And this is going to be a good test to see how this team can react to situations like this in the course of the remainder of the season and then playoffs, because I'm pretty sure we're gonna be there. So I don't know about you guys. You guys sound scared and frightened. I'm actually excited for this match. I want to see how this squad does against the number one team. And looks of keeping our undefeated streak alive. And yeah, we're gonna need guns blazing, and we're gonna need a solid defense because this is the number one offensive team.
Yeah, you're looking at Jocelyn to have herself one hell of a game,
Mm-hmm.
as well as Renata in goal. But yeah, she's gonna have to be a big physical presence in the box, and again, use that left foot of first to try to maybe get a counter going for our ladies. So AJ, I mean, seeing what we already have and knowing kind of what our chips are, how do you think Cuellar plans himself for this game? Do you think it's going to be that tactical, that tactical sense of let's park the bus a little bit, let's hold off, and then try to release on the counter, or do you think just maybe, America might take this game to Tigres?
Considering like what we're currently like dealing with at the moment, I feel like it's one of those things that you do mention, Ivan. Like we're gonna start things off slowly, see what we can do from there. We usually have it's usually like a passing game with America Femenil in which everyone gets a piece of the ball. When we see open space, we're usually just opening it up to the wingers to go run. We give them the through ball, and then from there on, we have Danny Espinosa running into the box, and then our wingers are just gonna then provide that cross too. But I feel like in this game, it's just park the bus a bit, see what we can do. If we happen to bring enough of Diga Feminiz's offense just closer to us with the defense, and then we could get them on that counterattack, we go for that. Pass it to whoever's going to be in the midfield, then open up to our wingers or to our forward. And then from there on out, it's just we're gonna have see if we can get ourselves a chance at goal from there. Because I feel like without Montse, without Jennifer Munoz starting, without Veronica Perez starting, usually we haven't. Those players are really being the ones creative for this America Femenil side. I feel like you really shouldn't be taking the risk and trying to play the usual play style that they usually do. So I feel like start slow out at first. When the opportunity is there, when the floodgates are open, start going for it. Get on that counterattack, get those wingers and get the forward up front, and just have a crack at goal.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll have to wait and see, but hopefully these ladies can produce some bit of magic because I know we're definitely going to need it. But hey, if anything, if America Femenil are able to somehow, surprise Tigres and get an early goal, I think that's where you're definitely going to see the, Tigres try to come at you, which might just be their downfall. And it's going to open a lot, and I mean a lot of spaces for these ladies to try to get a counter going. So we'll have to wait and see. But this match should be a fun one, just like Christian said. Christian, I know you're a betting man, and when all odds are against a team, I know you're right there to put all your money on them. So it's fair to say that the ladies are going to have your full support in this one. All right, gentlemen, talk to me a little bit more about your prediction. What are you looking for, AJ, in this game? Do you think we're going to walk away with a victory? Are we getting a draw? What's your gut telling you?
I've been thinking about this throughout the entire time since after that Pumas match was over, and I'm thinking about how is America Femenil gonna go into this and what the result's gonna be. In my head, I'm thinking 2-1, but then I feel like my heart's honestly saying I'm gonna go with a 1-1 draw. I'm gonna hold on to a draw for this one.
No 3-0 there from AJ. That's how you know he's really nervous coming into this one.
Yes,
Christian, your prediction?
I think it's interesting. I do believe in the, like I said earlier, like in the resilience of this team and the depth of this team. I really do think they're gonna come out and send a message to the league saying, listen, we're still a contender and we're gonna come gunning for you. So, it's not gonna be the most flashy result for us, but I'm thinking a 2-1 win for America.
2-1 win is exactly what we would hope for, but we'll have to wait and find out. For me, I'm just gonna go with a draw. I'm not gonna give a 1 or 2 whatever the case may be. I'm just saying a draw. I think the ladies can walk away, and at the end of the day, I think depending on who plays and how we play, we'll come back and sit back and talk about whether or not that was a point gained or 2 points dropped. So we'll have to wait and see. But interesting to see how this game plays out. Unfortunately for the ladies, they cannot take advantage of the international break. But fortunately for us, that means there's Liga MX for us to watch this weekend. So this match is going to be live on Tu DN, correct, AJ?
Mm-hmm.
That's right. So you guys here in the States can watch it. And you guys can also catch all the stuff going on in that game over on our Twitter. So make sure you guys follow us at Eagle Eye Podcast. You guys can start watching that game alongside us at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 7 Central, 8 Eastern. And hopefully we can watch our ladies walk away with all 3 points in the Volcan. All right, gentlemen. That's enough lady talks for today. We'll be back next week to recap all of that action and preview much, much more. Before we jump into this next Clasico Capitalino, I know we just talked about one. Let's talk a little bit about our sponsors, Foot Called. Thank you again, Foot Called, for sponsoring this episode. If you guys haven't done so already, check these out, all right? Check these beauties of a shirt out. If you guys like what you're seeing on your screen, make sure you guys go. And if you're listening this on your devices and you're just like, what are they showing on screen? Go over to Foot Cult and find out, because you're gonna love every single thing that you see. You're gonna want to buy the whole store. And if you're like me and Christian, you would have maxed out your check by Friday already and have bought half of the stuff. But yeah, make sure you guys go use the code EEP at checkout so you guys can get 10% off all Foot Cult items. And it helps support the show a little bit to keep the lights running and everything. Hopefully we can pay Cowboy Dan's salary to come back,
No, yeah, for sure. No, but definitely, I mean, like you said, Full Code, an amazing brand, amazing company, amazing vision. Most importantly, they understand what us the fans want. And they're coming out with great things every single day. Just keep your eyes out on all the collabs that we're going to be doing with them. The shirt that you just saw on screen is just one of many we're going to do. So definitely head over to Full Cult and buy yourself something, and remember to get 10% off using EEP.
Definitely. And if you guys do, tag us over on Instagram or Twitter. We're going to share, we're going to retweet it, we're going to post it, we're going to tell everyone. All right? Everyone. Definitely. So, definitely. Thank you guys for supporting the show. And of course, none of this would have been possible without all of you guys' listening and support. All right, gentlemen, let's jump into the Clasico Capitalino recap of what happened. Tell me, gentlemen, what happened on Saturday? It looked like we were poised to maybe do better than what any of us expected with the starting 11 that we had, which was surprisingly enough just, I think, one of the oddest starting 11 we've seen in such a long time, Christian, if my memory serves correct. But how are you feeling after that 2-2 all draw?
Definitely discontent. There's a whole different reason why I'm discontent after this game. We'll just nitpick up one thing. One, starting 11. I know it's definitely not the we're limited definitely, but I think this could have been tweaked a little bit more to our liking. 2, we should have won this game 100% hands down. And 3, just the end result of the 3 Clásicos to only get 5 out of 9. It's still not good in my opinion. I think we came out losing over the course of these 3 weekends. And I think we should have done a lot better.
Yeah, I agree. We should have done much better. AJ, I don't know. How are you feeling after this one?
I think Christian just honestly just pinpointed every single thing. And I just really felt like, just looking at stats, like from what I'm looking, America had 24 shots compared to Pumas' 11. Pumas had 5 shots on target compared to America's 10. It only ended up becoming 2-2, and at which I felt like America were the more dominant side. I feel like towards the kind of end of the second half, Pumas were gaining some shots, but just all in all, I feel like America were just knocking for the most part on Pumas' door and just trying to get goals in, but it just seemed like nothing was just going in our way in this case. We had the first shot from Gio Dos Santos. That was just a sign, like, okay, America are starting to get things going. Henry Martin missed a sitter, which he was completely wide open because the Pumas goalkeeper was pretty much pulled out of position, completely just sends towards the other direction. Henry Martin then tries to do a bicycle kick, which it was a good effort, but just all in all, just went off target. You then had Ramon Juarez header, which happened to then miss its mark. Federico Viñas had also a chance at goal, just didn't want to go in. And Henry Martin, and I felt like this maybe could have made a difference. I remember there was a point where Henry was running slightly in the box, like towards like the left side. Federico Viñas was right in the box, in which Henry just could have dished it off to him, either as a ground pass or in the air for Viñas to then head it in to give us the first goal. But it just didn't happen this season. I feel like Henry had something else. He's like, I'm gonna go for the shot, but just seeing how he was shooting, it just seemed like that wasn't supposed to really be a shot. We did happen to get our 2 goals though. Nicolas Benedetti hey, not really great goal, and I'm glad he also did get named to the starting 11 for the Jornada, if I'm not mistaken. And then we also happened to convert a really late penalty, which was in the 81st minute, I'm sure, from Federico Vinas. But just all in all, I mean, it's a draw. I mean, then this is the next thing I would want to talk about. We did not lose any of our Clásicos at all, but Pavel Pardo did post something on Twitter, which actually really had me thinking. He said, we went from, if we happen to beat all of our biggest rivals in the season, that honestly could just be proof to saying we could win it all in this case. We defeated some of the toughest challenges in the regular season, and going then into the playoffs at this point, it's like we can do something. To then go into, hey, we didn't lose any of our Clásicos at all, so that's a good thing, right? So it's just a thing where I just feel like,
I mean,
so
that statement alone just, I mean, I agree with it to a certain extent that, losing to our rivals is something we never want to do in any season, any given point of our time, whether it's our highest high or lowest low, never want to lose. It's just a fact that in all three games, besides well, no, let's just talk about the Cruz Azul and Pumas game. In both of those games, whether we got outplayed by Cruz Azul or we played on 50-50, and while we outplayed Pumas, there was moments in both matches where we probably could have came out with the win. Having said that, we're playing both, not an excuse, playing both matches, limited squads. But I guess that just shows you the strength of this team, the depth of this team. That even at our lowest low, with a limited squad, going up against two of the better teams in the league, and potentially walking out with 3 points in each of the match, it just shows that these players need to focus up and really represent what America really is, and that's being clutch in the moment. And in both those games, there were sprinkles of clutches in the Pumas game, but overall, it was not America DNA like in both matches, where I think we could have came out with the W.
I agree with you, Christian. In past iterations, I feel like this team would have, even in the way that we played, would have found something somewhere. And the fact that we haven't, I think that worries me the most, because you're coming down to the final stretch of the season, and where that every point's going to be worth something. Whether it's and most of the time it needs to be 3 points. You see how tight it is that top in that top four battle. It just, you're right. It's not America DNA like to come out and say, you know what? At least we didn't lose, right? I think at the end of the day, we wanted all 9 points. We would have settled for 7, but you can't be content with 5. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
So,
yeah, no, definitely not. I think when we were making our predictions, I think Chivas and Pumas. No disrespect, actually, well, to an extent. Those were the two easier of the games than Cruz Azul, and we expected to get W's in both Chivas and Pumas. With Cruz Azul being the little up in the air, but still, we still should have won that match as well. Just disappointing. 5 out of 9. It's not like us. Like Ivan, like you said, in previous seasons, previous squads would have pulled something, out of nothing. It seems like, and I think America need to find kind of that clutch factor that kind of carried them throughout those seasons that made teams fear that you have to play 90 minutes, because teams right now can just play maybe 80 to 85. 75 to 80 and kind of get away with something, and I think that's what we saw against Pumas.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of question marks, and of course, I mean, there are some people that are advocating for Piojo to, that not to do something, but they're advocating for Piojo, saying that what he's doing what he can with the pieces that he has.
Correct.
But like you mentioned, Christian, there was different ways to go about this game, and where you could have put a little bit of different puzzle pieces together that may have looked a better picture. So, I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, it's not what we wanted, but is there building blocks here? Maybe, potentially, but hey, it's the 13th jornada. We shouldn't have building blocks at this point. We should have a foundation.
Definitely.
But the fact that we don't, I mean, again, I don't want to get into the discussion of whether or not is this Gibber's fault. Maybe, depending how you stand on that. He still hasn't come out. There still hasn't been word. He still hasn't come out and kind of saved face and shown us stats and this and that, which again, I will stand here and continue to demand for some sort of evidential proof that it is not our training, our physicians who are causing this injury on our players. But again, before we get that, all we can do is continue to knock at the door and say, look, show us the proof, or we're going to continue running with this story. And we're just going to have to continue running with it for now. But yeah, no, wasn't pretty. But I mean, you know, decent stuff to point out. I think, like AJ said, Benedetti looking sharp as always. I think he was very much involved. Christian is one of your favorite players on the team, so it was good to see your boy go out there and do his thing.
No, definitely. And just because now he's one of my more favorite players. It's just I'm just very happy for him in general. Coming off a very very strong injury, one that could have been career changing. Him to kind of just pick up this momentum, pick up this flair, that we known that he has, and just help bringing that to the team to give us a kind of a new element in the offense is really refreshing, to me at least. And it seems to be helping the team in one way or another. Whether he's creating a play, assisting, or scoring a goal, he's contributing, and that's exactly what we need him to do. And just continue to do that in case some players like to slack off. And in this season, it kind of seems that in every game or so we kind of have that one player that doesn't seem in rhythm with the others. But I think for me, I don't know about YouTube. I think this is one player that is always in rhythm, or either tries to get everyone in rhythm.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, AJ.
Nah, to be honest, I feel like he's one of those players that when he does get on the pitch, he makes an impact in some way, in which, like you mentioned, he's either going to get his team involved, or if you feel like he could definitely take on a defender to just get himself for a shot at goal, or to just give someone else the chance to, like, hey, take a shot. Just no, he proves everything, like you mentioned, just coming off from an injury in which most people are going to think about, is he going to come back the same after missing all that time and then go onto the pitch? And it seems like just from the get-go, whatever minute you play, it's like, I'm going to put my 100% out there no matter what minute it is, whether we're losing by a goal, we're currently tied, or we're just winning a lot. It's like, I'm going to just play as if like the game was at 0-0 and we need a goal immediately. So just really nice just to see Nicolas Benedetti, as a lot of people had doubt in him when it seemed like, when he got injured, it's like, let's just sell him. But now that he finally gained the chance to play and showcasing all the skills he had, and it's like giving America fans like, so this is why we signed him in the first place. And he's currently displaying it to why America signed him in the first place and why he should stay in this America side.
No, yeah, completely agree. But I mean, that's a good positive and something to take away from it. Here's another thing though. Defensively though, we were in shambles.
Yeah. I honestly do think that's just due to again, I really don't want to make excuses, but this is probably the most limited defense we've had all season long. None of these players are starters, to an extent, maybe besides one. One player was playing out of position. We had a youngster in there, and it's literally that the fact
one
that
was playing out of position. You mean like two players were out of position?
Two. Yeah, well, two. Actually, yeah, you're right, two. So that was the most makeshift defense we could ever pull out. In this stage of the season, that's terrible. But I guess somewhat props to Piojo to kind of getting them somewhat organized and not allowing more goals than what it should have been. But yeah, I really hope that we have some defenders back for the game against Leon, because that's not gonna cut it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm looking at Cáceres, and at this point, why are we like crossing our fingers that Aguilera could be back, dude?
Wow.
Look where we're at. Look how
look.
far we've fallen. And I just want to bring
goodness.
this up that we were talking about defenders. Ramon Acosta has commented, we need Ortega back. Gentlemen, how do we feel about this? We know we didn't put a poll, but we put out a question yesterday on Twitter if Ortega's game against who they play, Cruz Azul last week for Toluca, was any merit for him to come back for America. What do you gentlemen think?
This is a prospect that we've all been looking at for a while now. We all thought he was going to get the chance this season, whether Sebastian Cáceres was brought in or not. We still thought he was going to get the chance to kind of prove himself and kind of show us why he deserves a spot on this team. Unfortunately, we saw the end result of the loan to Toluca, not really getting much minutes at the start, and then having a brilliant performance this weekend to some people. It just shows that the caliber of this player and the skill set that he has once he's being played. And if he was getting regular minutes, I think we would see a performance like that almost every single weekend.
Yeah, I mean that's true. He has the qualities, he has the talent, and I would hope that he gets more game time after this. But I think it's fair to say America is not going to recall him back anytime soon. They're going to let this loan play out the way that they initially intended, and we'll have to wait and see what we can do in regards to our defense. But yeah, we looked in shambles. Cáceres and Fuentes both looked terribly slow. I mean,
Yes.
terribly slow.
Yeah, definitely. And just it's just hard for Cáceres. I'm not trying to, be on his side, but he's looked slow all season. I don't know what's that due to. Maybe I just
All
don't
that
know.
FIFA he did.
Probably, yes, that
Ligaments.
too. So he just looks also slow. And then you're trusting him at the center back position with a striker that we know that loves and is so dangerous, in that area. Definitely not the smartest move, but it's the only move we had, right? So like it's just hard in his position. Like you said, Luis Reyes, Luis Fuentes, and Ramon Juarez didn't have the best nights, and I just really hope that we don't repeat this defensive line ever again, because
Ooh.
yeah, I don't want to stress like that ever again.
Pain.
Yeah, I don't think any of us ever want to stress out like that. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's a point that I feel like I would hope the players feel the same way. 2 points dropped at the Azteca, right?
Yeah, that's how it
Mhm.
is.
That's how it should be, because we needed 3 points in this one to kind of not just scale us back up in the table, because I think we're still in a pretty good favorable position, but
Yeah,
to instill confidence in some of these players. I think that would have been more important more than anything, because you can only imagine how a player is feeling like in that locker room, knowing that he's looking and there's really no answers in and around that squad, because so many players are out because of an injury or because of international duty and all this stuff. I mean, it's just it probably doesn't feel well. And if you are able to walk away in a Clasico Capitalino with all 3 points, I would imagine that would have made the world of a difference for some of these players.
definitely. Even the players that aren't going on duty, this, like I said, Ivan, this win would have gave him kind of a deep breath. Listen, relax. The three classicals are over. It's fine. Take a deep breath, relax for a little bit, not too much, because we got Leo next. So it would have been nice
Yeah.
for the players to kind of feel that. But unfortunately, that's not how it is. Now they have to face, I guess, the consequences of not pulling that one out. And I'm pretty sure the coaching staff will let them know that that's a game we need to win, and just keep working hard and trying to perfect this craft that seems to never find its end, because it just seems like every single match day we have a whole new 22 and we have to try to select.
Yeah, that's just crazy. But well, hey, we'll have to wait and find out. But thank you, FIFA, for having an international break at this point. Because Jesus, could you
We do
imagine
need it.
going up and against going up against them with that back line?
Yeah, no.
No, that would have not been favorable by any means necessary.
Mm-mm.
But hey, we have such a FIFA, and yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But that pretty much wraps it up for this preview. Unless you guys had anything else to add.
No, I think I'm good.
Nope.
Now we're good. Alrighty, gentlemen. Well, we'll be back next week to talk all things America versus Lone, and we'll be joined by our good friend Miss Gary Torres, plus another one of her co-hosts from the Lions Den podcast to preview all things America versus Lone. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be a good one, so make sure you guys tune in next week on Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific time, 9 Central, 10 Eastern. You guys don't want to miss a second of it. It should be a good, fun preview. All right, gentlemen, before we sign off this show, I want to ask you guys' predictions for the game tomorrow, Mexico versus the Netherlands.
Definitely gonna be a fun match. I don't agree with everyone just counting us out just yet. I know the lineup is a little bit, not what I guess people expected it to be. But I still think Mexico can show, its progress and show that, it can still put up a fight with the world's elite. I'm not gonna say that we're gonna win. Only because I think that there's still a few kinks that we need to work out. But it's definitely gonna be a good match. But I expect a draw, actually, a 2-2 draw.
So we're not gonna win, but we're definitely not gonna lose.
Mhm.
So a draw it is for Christian. AJ.
I'll go with the draw too. I'd say this will be a 1-1 draw.
1-1 draw. Well, I think the Netherlands have our number secured in this one. I don't see how Chaka Rodriguez can take care of Memphis Depay. But hey, we'll have to wait and see. I think Brian might agree with me on that one as well. So
No, I mean, I think everyone
shout
can
out to
agree with
Brian.
you. The only thing I have to say to that is we do know who the Netherlands coach is now, right?
I mean, yeah, but
Okay, thank you.
If you give him at least good players, I'm pretty sure he's able to conjure
He
something
had
up.
good players in a very subpar league, and he drove them from being the best team in the league. So I think seven of the worst teams in the league.
So you're telling me it's the same thing having Wijnaldum, Memphis Depay, Van de Beek, and De Jong
It's definitely not.
having
No, it's
Barco,
definitely not.
PT,
No,
and I mean,
it's definitely not. No, it's definitely not. But I'm saying though, we've seen other instances where our coach is given a better squad, but it's just limiting them due to their tactics. I could give a number of examples right now, and Ivan, I think you wouldn't be happy with the first one I'm going to give you, but
don't you dare throw my United in this.
All right, we'll leave it at that then. Have a good night, everybody.
All right, and then we've wrapped up the show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in. For all of you guys that have been watching, thank you to every single one of you guys that have been listening over on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever it is that you may listen to us. Thank you so much for your support. Again, big shout out to Ramon for the comments as well, and to AP Jr. So thank you guys so much. Come on. Next week, join us for this Leon preview. Come on down, show your support for America, show your support for the Eagle Eye podcast, and let's have a good one next week. Alrighty then. So we'll be with you guys back shortly on Saturday when we see you guys over on Twitter. We're going to be live tweeting everything going on with the Lady Aguilas, so make sure you guys don't miss that. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming out. Dylan, if you're listening to this, we miss you, buddy. And anything else you guys want to add on before we wrap it up?
And just everyone stay safe. Please stay safe. Keep wearing your mask. Keep trying to follow every precaution, guideline, whatever you need to do in this crazy world. It's far from over yet. Don't listen to anything that's saying that it's stopping or anything. It's it's still here. Trust me, it's still here. Just please be safe, guys. Enjoy the international break if you can, and can't wait to see you guys next week.
I was gonna say we have the weekend off, but AJ, we got ladies to cover, so I guess no such thing as taking a break around here. Alrighty then, thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you so much, and gentlemen, as always, it's been a pleasure. I'll talk to you guys very, very soon. Until next time, guys, take care. As always, be safe, wear your masks, and arriba la América. Lakers in 5.
Ladies and gentlemen, this was another production of the Eagle Eye Podcast, the #1 source for all things Club America in English. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Eagle Eye Podcast and get all the latest news and coverage. And subscribe to our podcast wherever it is you may listen.